I had an interview at NASA. Yes, the NASA. And I was being considered against a huge pool of applicants. So I knew that I needed to go in with a resume and portfolio that had a wow factor. The night before my interview, I went to bed early, made sure that I got some rest, but something woke me up because I just had this idea that I wanted to implement and I couldn't sleep. So the next morning, I had my laptop fully charged and I rushed to the LEGO store. So here's what I did. First, I used a free QR code generator website to take my actual website that had my resume and my portfolio on there, and I used it to create a QR code, an actual graphic of white and black pixels. So then once I had that, I input that into another free software called Inkscape, and I essentially divided this entire QR code into like millions of squares. And each square was actually a 2x2 Lego piece size, just perfect, so that when I went to the store, I could actually get those number of pieces and recreate this QR code out of Legos. I sat in the middle of the store and I just collected all the pieces from that heavenly Lego wall, and I had all in all a total of 1,250 Lego pieces, half white and half black. So I had all those pieces in front of me and I just started assembling the whole thing. I verified whether the QR code would actually work. I took my phone and I hovered it over the actual board and I took a picture and I just prayed that it would take me to my website, and it did. Thank goodness. So I took all those very gently to the register, paid for 1,250 pieces plus that backboard, and I asked her for a box. I gently put everything in the box and I rushed for my interview and arrived just in time. So I entered the room and there was a group of NASA folks sitting around a conference table. I walked in with this giant box and I set it on the table. Started to answer a lot of questions throughout the interview, and by the end of it, somebody had asked me, "What is in that box?" And I replied, "I'm glad you asked." So I opened the box. I took out very, very carefully all that set in one piece, hoping that it was still in one piece. Laid it on the table and I said, "I want everyone to gather around with your phones and take a picture of this, and your phone should redirect you to my portfolio and resume." And one by one, each person's phone redirected them to the website. Yes! See, the lesson that I want to impart to you is the following. Resumes and portfolios, no matter the industry that you're in, if you're applying to a job, your employer has seen hundreds of thousands of resumes over their lifetime. How do you go beyond just a piece of paper? Communicate a vision that says, "This is me, this is what I stand for, and this is what I want to do at your organization." And this all sort of tied back to my graduate thesis, which had to do with how can we create reusable and recyclable spacecraft so that if we have these spacecraft, in orbit and we don't necessarily need a tank anymore, then instead of discarding that fuel tank, what if we took apart the pieces and rebuilt something else out of those same pieces? I took that same idea and my affinity for this sustainable, reusable, recyclable mindset, and I applied that towards how I wanted to represent myself that day. So when you start to apply to any job, think about your motives. Think about why you want to apply to that job in particular. Think about your goals. What do you as a person represent and will bring to that organization? And see if you can manifest that vision in a way that your interviewers will never forget.